Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhani. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhani. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhani. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhani. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhani. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara यशोदानंदना प्रजा जनरंजना यशोदानंदना प्रजा जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहार जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहार जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहार जो विश्वात परम सूरज का चारा स्तोत्रस्ता श्रीमद भक्तिवेदांत संस्लोपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। Thy Guru Pramanande, all Gurus to the devotees, all Gurus to the devotees, all Gurus to the devotees, all Gurus to the devotees. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusa, Sarva Vedaika Shatpala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratyandya, Vaikadrikpada, Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu, Kalidanta Atitya, Sri Krishna Parivartita, परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्षाक्षरायते सर्वदा सर्वे सेवाय श्री कृष्णाय नमोस्तु मे मदेक बंधो मत्संगी मद्गुरो मन्मनादना मन्निस्तरक मद्भाग्या मदानंद नमोस्तु मे असाधु साधु तादाय नचनी चोत्तारका आनमुंच कदाचिन्मावृत्कंठयो स्फुर। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, entitled Remembrance of Lord Krishna, Text 27. Parito Vatsapai Vatsams Charayan Vyaharad Vibhuhu Yamunopavane Pujan Vija Sankulitangripe Parito Vatsapair Vatsams Parito Vatsapair Vatsams Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu Yamunopavane Kuja Yamunopavane Kuja Vijasankulitangripe Vijasankulitangripe Sada Gokuland ki jai Shri Dham Lakshman Krishna Nitai jai Parito Vatsapair Vatsam Parito Vatsapair Vatsam Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu Charayan Vyaharad Vibhu Yamunopavane Puja यमुनोपवने कूजा द्विजसङ्कुलिताङ्घ्रिपे द्विजसङ्कुलिताङ्घ्रिपे वत्सपैर्वत्साम् Paritaha, surrounded by Vatsapair, covered boys, Vatsan, calves, Charayan, herding, tending, Vyaharat, enjoyed by traveling, Vibhuhu, the Almighty, Yamuna, the Yamuna river, Upavane, gardens on the shore, Kujat, vibrated by the voice, Dvija, the twice-born birds, Sankulita, densely situated, Angripe, in the trees. Translation. In his childhood, the Almighty Lord was surrounded by covered boys and calves. Thus he travelled on the shore of the Yamuna river through gardens densely covered with trees and filled with vibrations of chirping birds. Please repeat after me. In his childhood, the Almighty Lord was surrounded by covered boys and calves, and thus he travelled on the shore of the Yamuna river through gardens densely covered with trees and filled with vibrations of chirping birds. Purport. By Devan Geses Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Nanda Maharaj was a landholder for King Kamsa, but because by caste he was a Vaishya, a member of the mercantile and agriculture community, he maintained thousands of cows. It is the duty of the Vaishyas to give protection to the cows, just as the Kshatriyas are to give protection to the human beings. Because the Lord was a child, he was put in charge of the calves with his cowherd boyfriends. These cowherd boys were great rishis and yogis in their previous births, and after many such pious births, they gained the association of the Lord and could play with him on equal terms. Such cowherd boys never cared to know who Krishna was, but they played with him as a most intimate and lovable friend. They were so fond of the Lord that at night they would only think of the next morning when they would be able to meet the Lord and go together to the forest for cow herding. The forests on the shore of the Yamuna are all beautiful gardens, full of trees of mango, jackfruit, apples, guava, oranges, grapes, berries, palm fruit, and so many other plants and fragrant flowers. And because the forest was on the bank of the Yamuna, naturally there were ducks, cranes, and peacocks on the branches of the trees. All these trees and birds and bees were pious living entities born in the transcendental abode of Vrindavana just to give pleasure to the Lord and his eternal associates, the cowherd boys. While playing like a small child with his associates, the Lord killed many demons, including Agasura, Bakasura, Pralambasura, and Gardhabasura. Although he approached at Vrindavana just as a, although he appeared at Vrindavana just as a boy, he was actually like the covered flames of a fire. As a small particle of fire can kindle a great fire with fuel, so the Lord killed all these great demons, beginning from his babyhood in the house of Nanda Maharaj. The land of Vrindavana, the Lord's childhood playground, still remains today, and anyone who visits these places enjoys the same transcendental bliss, although the Lord is not physically visible to our imperfect eyes. Lord Chaitanya recommended this land of the Lord as identical with the Lord and therefore worshipable by the devotees. This instruction is taken up specially by the followers of Lord Chaitanya, known as the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And because the land is identically with the Lord, devotees like Uddhava and Vidura visited these places 5,000 years ago in order to have direct contact with the Lord, visible or not visible. Thousands of devotees of the Lord are still wandering in these sacred places of Vrindavana, and all of them are preparing themselves to go back home, back to Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Hena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate grim yat kripatamam mande Sri Gurun Vinatarinam yat kripatamam mande Sri Gurun Vinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Seitaneshwaram. Hare Krishna. Let's seek the blessings of the devotees, both present here and also online, to speak some words on this elevated book, Srimad Bhagavatam. And we are now here, the description of Lord's pastimes in Vrindavana described. I'll just repeat the sloka once again. Koma Parito vatsapairvatsam charayan vyaharad vibhu yamunopavane kujad dvijasankulitangripe. In his childhood, the Almighty Lord was surrounded by cowherd boys and calves. Thus he travelled on the shore of the Yamuna river through gardens densely covered with trees and filled with vibrations of chirping birds. Actually, in the purport, Prabhupada is mentioning about the cowherd boy friends. They were not ordinary living entities. They were sages, yogis and sages, rishis, who in their previous births accumulated means a lot of pious activities. We have this in the Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 12 and verse 11. I'll just read that. Ittam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradhaivatena mayashritanam dharakena sakam vijahru krita punya punjan. So these are words actually where it is mentioned krita punya punjan. These covered boyfriends were not ordinary living entities. So they accumulated, say, heaps of pious activities. Here, pious activities doesn't mean it's just karma, karma related. This is Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he mentions that Bhakti Unmukha karma and other one is Karma Unmukha, this one. Basically, this activities, pious activities, punya which they got, this punya was bhakti related by engaging in the service of the Lord. It was not from karma. They got this punya. So this is one of the things we have to see here. And here Nanda Maharaj, he was a Vaishya. So we see he was taking care of cows. Anyone remembers how many cows he was taking care? Huh? Yes. It's 900,000. Can't imagine. So this is the thing, Even we have about 70, 80 cows here, maximum, but they are 900,000 cows. They are so rich. So that's why Krishna is called Go Brahmane Tayacha. He takes care of cows. So Nanda Maharaj, with his own example, is showing us that taking care of cows is of paramount importance, and Krishna personally takes care of cows. And these Gopas, they were playing with the Lord on equal terms. They were not bothered to know that Krishna is God. So, this is one of the things we see in Vrindavan pastimes. Unlike Vaikuntha, where their awe and reverence is there, everyone sees Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everyone wants to, just bow down. But once we see here in Vrindavan pastimes, they were playing on equal terms, and they were not bothered to know whether Krishna is God. And also, they were playing in a most intimate, this words Prabhupada is using, intimate. Intimate and lovable friends. These two words Prabhupada is using. So, this, it's not imaginable. It's only possible by the mercy of the Lord and His devotees. And then, of course, this human life is meant for that purpose, to attain that, perfection. To go back to Godhead and worship Him, not exactly worship Him, but attain one of the rasas, this Dasa rasa, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. So we have this in the Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 20th chapter, verse 17. Just read that one for you. Nrideham Adyam Sulabam Sudurlabam Plavam Sukalpam Guru Kannadharam Mayanukulena Nabasvateritam Puman Bhavadbhim Nataretsa Atmaha. That actually this human body is like a solid boat. We get this, human body, after many births. So here it's like a solid boat, and this material world is like a vast ocean. And by the mercy of the spiritual master who acts like the captain, and favorable breezes are the Vedic injunctions, so which help us, go back to the spiritual world. So one who takes advantage, then it's for him it's possible. Otherwise, it's considered Atmaha. Atmaha means the killer of the soul. Of course, soul cannot be killed, but it's like, he gets this opportunity, but he misuses it, then is considered Atmaha. So this is the advantage for us in the human form of life, to attain perfection by, taking advantage of the, solid body, which is like a solid boat, and the favorable breezes, which are the Vedic injunctions, and the expert captain, which is the spiritual master. So Prabhupada in one of the purports mentions, actually this is in the second chapter, so second canto, first verse, sixth chapter. He says that we should mold our life in such a way that we progressively remember Krishna, in every step of our life. Actually, this is the thing. That's why we see this Prabhupada has instructed us to chant the 16 rounds, follow the regulatory principles. This helps us, remember Krishna. Of course, Prabhupada has kindly given us the books, particularly, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada said if we go through these 4 books, it will help us, easily. In fact, in one of the purports, Prabhupada mentions that Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is sufficient to go back to Godhead. He mentions actually one of the purports. So the point is that, but he has given us kindly, Chaitanya Charitamrita and other books. So this help us, attain that easily. And in the purport, there is this word called Vibhu. Sorry, in the words, there's word called Vibhu. Vibhu means Almighty. So here Prabhupada is mentioning, he was actually like Krishna was like covered flames of a fire. Fire, even though it's it's small, it may be small, but it can burn off big woods. So Krishna, he did not have to prove that he is God. From childhood, he proved it. When he was 3 months old, Putana came. He was so small, can't even imagine. So, but by killing Putana, he showed that, he did not have to do some tapasya or anything like that. Nowadays, it's a fashion, particularly in India, where everyone says that, I am God, everyone is God. There's no need to worship God. But actually, God is not so cheap thing, So that's why we see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna shows the universal form. So if someone claims, let them show the universal form. Similarly, at the age of 3 months, Krishna killed Putana, and also, when he was so young, 7 years, he lifted Govardhana. So no one can, do such activities on his little finger. So that proves that, Krishna is God, and he showed it when he appeared in this world. And lastly, Prabhupada is mentioning about the fortune of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So here he quotes Lord Chaitanya. Actually, there's nice words. I'll just quote that one, 404. Yeah. It's a Chaitanya Manjusa, a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. This verse is there. Aradhyo Bhagavan Prajeshatanayas Taddhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Vakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Artu Pahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matam Idam Tatradha Na Paraha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is to be worshipped along with his transcendental abode, Vrindavana. The most pleasing form of worship for the Lord is that which was performed by the gopis of Vrindavana. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless authority on everything, and pure love of God is the ultimate goal of life for all men. These statements, for which we have the highest regard, are the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is what Prabhupada is mentioning, in the last section of the purport, that Lord Chaitanya, he showed us, through his teachings, that there is no difference between Krishna and Vrindavan. So that's why, we see that. Of course, wherever also Krishna's grace, Prabhupada's grace particularly, wherever there is, deities of like Radha Gokulananda, wherever temples, they're as good as Vrindavana. So, of course, Bhagavatam is Amala Puranam, spotless Purana, and through its mercy we can attain Krishna easily. Of course, still, Srila Jiva Goswami mentions that we should, visit Vrindavan from time to time, whenever possible, because that's how we develop attachment. So it's important, we should not just take it that, even though we have temples, but Prabhupada's mercy, we got this, at least in the middle of this hellish cities, of big cities, we have temples, that's Prabhupada's mercy, but Vrindavan is Vrindavan. And also, this is actually this Vrindavan, it's the fortune of our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that we could see that one Vrindavan, its glories we can understand. Of course, it's too difficult to get more details, but still we get a glimpse. Actually, it's the Madhuri Dhama, Vrindavan, is the sweetness we can feel. Mayapur is Audarya Dhama, that is where the mercy flows. So if someone wants to really understand Vrindavan, if he attains Lord Chaitanya's mercy, then it becomes easier. And, we are so fortunate to have these things for us. Even though we have in South India, we have other sampradayas like what you call Sri Sampradaya, we have Ramanujacharya Sampradaya, Madhvacharya Sampradaya. They don't have this thing, but we are so fortunate. It's by the mercy of the Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya. So in short, actually this Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Purana, and we are given this opportunity to attain perfection by following the rules and regulations and the process Prabhupada has given, particularly chanting 16 rounds and 4 regulatory principles. And this, even though Vrindavan looks externally at present, this another side is, even though it's at present it looks like little materialistic, but Vrindavan is Vrindavan. Nothing can, because I have experience, when I went 30 years ago to Vrindavan, it was completely different, It was more natural. But now, it has become it's like a more commercial, But those who can see Vrindavan, they can feel and also experience things. There's nothing, which can come. Like Govardhan we have, Nandagaon, Barshana, all these places, they still have that potency. And of course, Krishna, even though appears in this material world, is still Vibhu, the Almighty. You need not have to do any tapasya or anything, but with his own activities, he proves it. And Lord Chaitanya has given us, all these gifts, and through his followers, particularly Srila Prabhupada, and we are so fortunate to get these blessings and also these things which we are not, fit for. It's a privilege actually for us in this Kali Yuga. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments, any realizations? You can put it. Hare Krishna. Any comments, Maharaj? You like to? You want something? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Just a comment. It's interesting that this Arajo Bhagavan verse, Prabhupada would say it was coming from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but then other people are saying it comes from Srinath Chakravarti, who predates him. So I asked Gopinath Acharya from the Oxford Centre for Hindu Studies. He's saying that because he's an expert on Kavi Karnapur, who I think is either I don't know which way around it is it guru or the disciple of Srinath Chakravarti. So I'm just wondering, can we say that Srinath Chakravarti has another name, Vishwanath Chakravarti, and there's two Vishwanath Chakravartis? Just a thought.
Yeah. Thank you for the comment. Of course, we'll have to check that one. As of now, no, I don't have that thing. It's like, but Jai Shri Sadhu Gopananda ki Jai, Shri Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki Jai, Shri Gonitai ki Jai, Nitai ki Jai. But this verse summarizes our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. That's the advantage. It gives complete Siddhanta in that one verse. That's the thing. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, I asked Kartik Chandra Prabhu the same question, whether Srinath Chakravarti and Vishwanath Chakravarti are just the same person, different name. He said, no, they're different personalities. And he actually said it's Srinath Chakravarti who penned this verse. So Shiva Maharaj also speaks about this in Navavraja Mahima also. He addresses this, that Srila Prabhupada says it's from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur when seemingly it's from Srinath Chakravarti. So it just seems.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. So can I ask, so your experience when you went to Vrindavan, so could you sort of describe maybe in more detail, your feelings when you're in Vrindavan? I know you mentioned it's all commercialized and everything, but through your eyes, and how do you actually feel when you were there?
Of course, I'm not so much realized, but one thing is there. When I landed in 1992, that day was Guru Purnima. People are shouting, Govardhan, Govardhan. I couldn't understand what does it mean, That was the first time I visited. Actually, we can feel that in Vrindavan. It's they say that it's difficult to remember Krishna here, outside, but Vrindavan everywhere, we see temples and things. Even though it's so many things have been changed there, but still we can see there Radhe Radhe is written everywhere, temples. So it makes us remember. And like Prabhupada has given us Krishna Balaram temple. In fact, he said once that I've given you spiritual world in this Krishna Balaram temple. The way the deities are being worshipped there, it's like we are in the spiritual world. So, of course, there are places where the Lord performed His pastimes. By seeing them also, we can get that glimpse. Of course, when one advances more and more, then you can directly, see this proper real Vrindavan. But we get a glimpse by visiting Vrindavan. I hope you get some light, shed some light. Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thanks so much for the nice class, Prabhu. I was just wondering, for someone who's going to Vrindavan for the first time, if you have any suggestions how to kind of prepare oneself to be in the right mood and really absorb oneself in the Dhamma.
Yeah. Yeah. See, we should pray to Krishna, Prabhupada, to give us that qualification, because externally it looks a little odd, but to see real Vrindavan, we need that mercy. And also we should prepare ourselves, by going through, scriptures, particularly books which gives details about Vrindavan, understand its glories. Vrindavan Mahimamrita, this book by Prabodhanand Saraswati. So the glories of Vrindavan, if you understand, means if you try to go through, then it gives us a glimpse of where we are going through. Like the Acharyas, I guess Bhaktivedanta Thakur would say, don't go to Vrindavan with a return ticket. So just by not buying tickets, we'll be able to go to Vrindavan. But by the mercy only, we get this opportunity and to see Vrindavan. Okay, Prabhu? Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu? Yeah. You wanted to ask something? You wanted to ask? Yeah.
The purport, one of the demons' name is Gardavasura. Is the same as Devatasura?
Yeah.
Same, huh? Gardavasura.
Yes.
Same one.
Yeah. Yes, actually, it's Gardabasura. I'm also hearing for the first time that name, but it's a donkey actually. Yeah, donkey demon. Okay, yeah. Paramakrama.
In the purport, Prabhupada writes, Lord Chaitanya recommended this land of the Lord as identical with the Lord, and therefore worshipable by the devotees. And then later on, Srila Prabhupada said, because the land is identical with the Lord, devotees like Uddhava and Vidura visited Vrindavan. So, yeah, just trying to understand how do we see this as identical with the Lord? How do we understand it as identical with the Lord? It's easy to understand it's connected with the Lord, but how to understand that it's identical with the Lord?
Actually, when we come to spiritual, this one aspect, anything connected with the Lord, it's as good as Lord, because it's not material. In fact, before Krishna comes to this material world, he sends his associates. In fact, this Vrindavan, Govardhan, Yamuna river, and Vrindavan also comes. So they are not part of this world. They are from the spiritual world. So because the Lord is spiritual, and all this which come to accompany him when he appears in this material world, they are also spiritual. So in that way, we can see that they are identical. So otherwise, nothing can be considered material, when it comes to Vrindavan, because they come from the spiritual world. He comes with a whole, just like, when the what you call, when the president of a country comes, visits a place, then he comes with his whole entourage. So similarly, when Krishna comes, he comes, and these are the things, particularly Vrindavan, the dust of Raja, and Govardhan, his associates, and Yamuna river. This come with him from the spiritual world. So that way we can see that, they are identical because they are not material. Like for us, for example, our bodies are material, but these things are not made of matter. They are from the spiritual world. This is the thing. Okay, Paramaham? Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah.
The one thing I remember when I first visited Vrindavan with Kripa Moy Prabhu, we were with the congregation, and the first thing he first took us to Mayapur, because Mayapur, we were told, was very merciful. It's Lord Chaitanya. And somehow the offences that we have in our heart don't show up so much. But when we went to Vrindavan, there was a very heavy mood there. Personally, I remember it was like I treated it like a tourist. In other words, I was looking at all the shops, all the books that I could get, and all this sort of thing. But actually, I was really missing the point. Actually, to experience Vrindavan, we have to serve it in some way. And I was thinking about Dinabandhu with his little tours. He's a wonderful personality that can express the mood of Vrindavan. It's in the way he knows everybody, and he builds up friendships there and everything, not only for I suppose the tourists, but actually he's a person that somehow has penetrated him. And he's talking about all these little pastimes in Vrindavan, wherever it comes from, and in their you could say their folklore, that pastimes that have been passed on. And if you go with Dinabandhu on a tour there, you really need somebody like him to express the place. But the one thing I noticed was that it was very heavy atmosphere compared to Mayapur. Somehow or rather, you have to be careful with the Brajabasis and respect them. And I didn't have that there then, and I certainly remember it later. It struck me that, as I walked through the gardens, that it's an atmosphere. And I'm not saying anything I knew about it, but it was a feeling I know I had to be very, very careful. And there was one time when I was arguing with one of the devotees there, and Kripa Moy said, we mustn't argue with each other or anybody else there. You must treat it with great respect, but also to feel that you're there to serve it, not it to serve you. And I remember walking through some, like the gardens there, on the Parakram walk. Oh, it was, and to see the samadhis on the hill, and everything. It was a sense of, oh, I have to be careful, but at the same time, I have to associate with people that are going to tell me about this place, the inside stories, and their enthusiasm, which they pass in the sound vibration of their voice. You know, I know the Krishna book, Dictations, when Prabhupada, if you ever have a chance to hear these Krishna book dictations, it's Prabhupada, he's actually seeing what he's speaking. You know, he speaks in such innocent ways, but at the same time he speaks with great, you know, all the advice of the acharyas is also added in. It had a heaviness, yet sweetness. It is totally different to go to Mayapur, whereas Lord Chaitanya, he is very, very merciful. He just wants people to chant and to spend a night there, because they're given the mercy to understand that, oh, it's something else. And there he is. He's given her this Harinam Sankirtan, the singing and the dancing, the joy of that. Whereas Vrindavan, it may be there, but I didn't feel that at all. So there's an oppressive atmosphere if you're not careful there. And I remember one evening we were sat in the ashram there. I can't remember the name of it. And there was this chanting in the background. It was like there was a whole load of chanting, and it was incessant and driving. You know, like Prabhupada, when he gets intense with his chanting, it had a mood that was transcendental, and I was like, and the parrots and the sound was just so special and unique. And the monkeys, of course. And it was, so I would say, to go to Vrindavan, you have to be in the place, but experience the atmosphere there with qualified devotees who can express it too in their hearts and their pastimes and what they're all about. And then hopefully, and so there was this contrast. And so, Vrindavan, we have to know that we have to be in a serving mood there, not in a tourist mood. Otherwise, somehow, you end up arguing with rickshaw wallers and over, 2 rupees. It's ridiculous. What the heck? What's 2 rupees? But we're so busy trying to keep hold of our money and things like that. I can remember I had no idea the level of seriousness of the place I was in.
Yeah.
And I have to be very careful that all these people are special. They know something I don't know. I can't ever know. And they've lived there all their lives. So that's all I can say about my feelings about Vrindavan when I haven't first went there. I don't know if it conveys anything, but I knew I had to be careful, and I knew I had to chant and be very serious. In the way I approach people and everything. Okay, thank you for letting me express that anyway.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. President Prabhu. Thanks so much for being here. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, समेत भक्तवृंद की जय। जय हरे कृष्ण। समेत भक्तवृंद।